The story starts with the main character is on the floor, restrained, being questioned by two girls in an apocalyptic setting. One girl asks him his name, holding a whip to intimidate him. Then she asks why he broke into their base. He says he has told them many times his name is Song Chao and that he was just passing by, but she tells him to stop lying. She says she is amazed that with monsters everywhere, he is casually carrying 2 barrels of precious tomatoes. She asks if he gave them a sleeping agent or something. The other girl, Shen Jimei, who was eating the tomatoes, spits one out and starts coughing. Jimei tells her sister that the only thing in the tomatoes is a little residue from pest control products. The other sister, Shen Jiayao, starts thinking hard. Chao then asks them to let him go. She uses her whip to scare him and says he is very silly for trying to trick them even after being caught by the West City duo. She warns him that a good-looking face won't stop her from roughing him up. She looks at him angrily and demands to know where the tomatoes came from and if there are more, or she'll make him sorry. He starts shouting, telling her to stop the rough behavior and that no one sent him. She releases him and he drops to the floor. He explains that he came from another base and wants to trade. He says if they help him, he can offer more tomatoes. She is shocked to hear there are more. She asks what he wants to do and if he is a slave trafficker. They stare at each other for a few seconds. Suddenly, Jimei screams from behind, asking if there's anything else because the tomatoes are too sour. She adds that she wants fresh leafy vegetables and eggs. Jiayao tells her to calm down, calling her a silly girl because you can't find eggs in this world. She explains that the chickens have changed due to mutations, and their eggs are not safe to eat. He thinks they must be very hungry, and wonders if food is truly this scarce here. He thinks it's bad that even simple things like leafy vegetables and eggs are rare items. It seems like it's too late for this place. Jiayao frees him from his restraints. He then asks what kind of items they can trade for food. He thinks to himself that he has sick parents and a sister who needs money for school. He came here through a strange ring, so he might as well make some money while he can. She thinks for a moment and says they can trade about 6 energy packs or a dozen laser pulse guns. She adds that if he wants a slave, he can buy several attractive women too. He gets excited, thinking about exchanging eggs and tomatoes for attractive women. Then she grabs him by his collar and says if he's so interested in the slave trade, he must be very involved with them. He quickly replies that they misunderstood, and that he wants something more valuable, like jewelry, diamonds, and gold. She is surprised and asks why he would need things like that. She asks if he doesn't see the wasteland outside and says those items haven't been worth anything for a long time. She asks him again, who exactly is he? Chao then explains that his base has a lot of food and needs those items to keep their women content. He says they need food and he needs gold, silver, and jewelry, and asks about working together to get what they both need. She asks him how the trade will happen and if he can provide tomatoes regularly despite the radiation. He says he has so much food and can go there every few days if they can help him out. She says they don't offer special favors. Thinking that they have more than enough power to keep him safe, he explains that he just hopes they can ensure his well-being upon his arrival. After thinking for a few seconds, they agree to the trade but say they need to be clear about the price. They tell him that 1 tomato can be traded for 10 kilos of gold or other items of similar value, and that the buckets he used are not practical because they are heavy and can't hold many tomatoes at once. He agrees to the condition, saying he is fine with that. She tells him to start their cooperation. The tomatoes will be his supplies, and she takes a bite into one. After tasting it, she becomes happy and says she hasn't eaten something so clean in years. After that, Chao tells her that since the talks are over, he would like to leave. But before he could finish, she slams her fist down next to him, ordering that he can walk around freely. But leaving the factory or being out of her sight is not allowed because the mutated creatures in that area have been handled, but not completely. She says if he wants to run around and meet his end, he can't say they didn't warn him. Chao asks if he can go to the restroom. She feels awkward and says he can go. He manages to get away from them and starts thinking that everything that happened must have a reason. He looks at the ring on his finger and says it caused his dimension hopping that day, adding that it's nothing special as he got it from a street vendor. He then twists the ring and a bright light flashes from it, pulling him into a dimensional shift. He lands in a village, looks around a bit and says he has returned. He looks at the ring again and remembers what the seller told him. The old man said he has a nice body and a bright future, so he sold him a heavenly ring for only 199 yuan. Chao then wonders who that old man was. After selling him the ring, the old man was chased away by the authorities. He thinks he needs to find a way to talk to that old man. Suddenly, a woman calls him from behind, telling him to stop. She asks when he is going to pay back the 10,000 yuan his family owes her. He doesn't know what to say. She tells him that her son is going to college soon and they need the money. He asks for a few more days and says he'll pay her back when he has it. He remembers that his father got a lung condition and his mother had a brain bleed, so he borrowed money for their care. He puts his hands together and says he promised to return the money within a year, but she keeps drawing it out. So Chao promises that he'll pay her back in 3 days with 1,000 yuan in extra charges, but she starts insulting him, saying she has been waiting for 5 years. How is he going to give it to her in 3 days? She says they are all failures and his parents would be better off gone. Hearing Hearing this, he gets very angry and punches the wall between them. He tells her if she says one more negative thing about his family, he'll seriously hurt her, and adds that he'll pay her back the next day with extra charges and tells her to leave. She goes away, saying if he doesn't pay up the next day, she'll find someone to make him pay. Chow thinks to himself that he must use this chance to give his family a better life. The next day, he buys fresh vegetables from the market, then goes outside to travel to the other world. He twists his ring again and goes through the dimensional shift. After the shift, he finds himself in the same place as before. Then suddenly, someone points a gun at his head. He looks and sees that it is Jia Yao. After saying welcome back, she asks what took him so long and why he suddenly disappeared the day before. He tells her to relax and says he just went back to get some food. He starts to show what he brought with him, but before he could show her, she quickly took it from his hands. She looks at the food he brought, her mouth watering, and calls her sister to look at it. After a few seconds, she gets a hold of herself and orders him to start preparing the food. After he cooked, both sisters started eagerly eating. Then Jia Yao asks him if he is hiding this food nearby, as Jiame says it has been a long time since they've had such fresh vegetables. Jia Yao tells him that as far as she knows, there are only hordes of walking dead and mutated creatures within a 10-kilometer area, and asks him again where he got the food. Chow explains that when he goes out, he takes enough food with him to eat and drink. He says that since they've had their meal, he wants to talk about working together and asks if there's a place for storing valuables nearby. She replies, "This is the western suburbs of Linjiang City. There are only homes but no vaults nearby." She says, even if there was one, they can't open it with the tools they have. Hearing this, Chow gets angry and tells them they misled him, agreeing to give him 10 kilos of gold for one tomato, even with no place to store valuables nearby. She says he has a good memory and adds that there might not be vaults, but there are large, expensive homes. She explains that what he's looking for should be in those homes. She tells him they are going out for some exercise after dinner. She orders Jimei to stay there and look after the base, and if there's any unwanted person, she should neutralize them. Chow asks if she can do it alone, and she replies that he is still with her and that he shouldn't worry as they've checked the area for mutated creatures many times already. As they were leaving, she says he can take whatever he finds there. Chow thinks he is just a regular person who traveled to the future, and now he's feeling a little uneasy. She gives him a watch and tells him to put it on. He wonders if it is a toy and asks how it works. She is surprised and says he doesn't even know that. He explains that he is not a fighter, adding that he has never even seen the monsters she mentioned before. She sighs and then explains that it is a multi-purpose soldier watch, and not only can it find his location, but also detect environmental radiation and contact partners. While she was explaining this, she puts on her riding gear and then pulls him toward her motorcycle by grabbing his shirt, saying that he can examine the watch while they drive. After looking at the bike, Chow is amazed as it has no wheels. She asks him if he is even from this world since he doesn't know what an all-terrain magnetic vehicle is. He gets a little nervous and says of course he is from this world. She still has doubts but lets him on her bike and tells him to hold on. Then, as she starts her bike, it starts floating and Chow gets scared. Being scared, he holds her waist tightly. She gets annoyed because of this. She warns him if he touches her again, she'll take care of his hand. Some time passes as they are riding fast down the road on the floating bike. He asks her why it is so quiet. She says that they have checked the area many times and that there are nothing but hordes of walking dead and mutated creatures there. She adds that after so much taking care of business, it will naturally become quiet. Then suddenly a mutated rat jumps toward them to attack. He warns her to look out, but she manages to neutralize it by shooting with her laser gun without even looking at it and tells him to relax. Chow asks her how much food she would want to sell the laser gun for. She replies that it is not very valuable and if he wants, he can get one for an egg when he goes to Linjiang base. He is shocked, thinking that he can get a gun for an egg. He also thinks that people must be completely armed in this world after the apocalypse. They stop at an abandoned area with dozens of large homes around them. She goes into a house, saying it is the right place. She prepares 2 guns and holds them in both of her hands. She enters the house and tells him to stay close to her and forbids him to go anywhere alone. She tells him that it has been a while since she's been in that area, so there might be a few issues. After entering the house, Chow is amazed to see how big it is. He looks around a bit and thinks that even the sofa there is probably worth a lot of money. She warns him not to be slow and says they have to get back before it gets dark. She tells him that they should go straight for the main bedroom, as valuable items are usually there. After looking around a bit, he tells her that it doesn't look like there's much there, so they should leave. She kicks the huge mirror with her boots, breaking it and showing a large secret door behind it. He is amazed and asks how she knew there was a secret door. She replies by saying that their house used to be even more fancy than this one, so there's nothing surprising about the hiding spot. She then shoots at the door's locking mechanism to break it and open the door. Inside, they find some boxes and a small model of a ship made of gold. He gets excited seeing it and thinks this time he is rich. She asks him to see if there's anything he wants in there. Chow was still excited because of finding the gold boat. Then his eyes fall on a ring, and he thinks that since it is so well hidden in the a secured room, it is definitely a very good item. He thinks about putting it away for now and tells her that he is ready to go. But then he gets scared as he sees she is on high alert. She tells him to be quiet and says she heard something. He asks her what is going on. As she goes toward the windows to look out, she says to herself, "It is them." Chow asks if they are her friends, to which she replies, "No, they are some unpleasant people from the southern suburbs who've been trying to capture us as slaves many times." She says they are now being attacked by a swarm of mutated hornets, which they deserve. He looks at the details of the hornets on his watch. Jiao thinks to herself that since they are being attacked by hornets, if they engage now, they can deal with them once and for all. She tells him that they will jump out of the window before they see them coming. She jumps out of the window very easily, but as Chow jumps out, he hurts his foot. She asks if he is in terrible shape and if he hasn't been given genetic improvement agents. He asks if he can buy any. She replies that he can get one for about 30 eggs and tells him to stop talking and just move. She stops just in time, barely avoiding a shot as the unwanted people start shooting at them. One of them tells her to stop and help them, but she refuses to do so. She gives Chow a gun and tells him to help shoot. He couldn't believe what was happening and wondered what he was supposed to do. She tells him again to hold the gun and help her shoot. He holds the gun but tells her that he doesn't know how to use it. She gets annoyed and says it is bad luck for her to take on his request as she starts using her watch. Suddenly, 2 grenades appeared in her hand. Seeing those, he asks what they are. She replies they are bright flash and smoke grenades. She throws them toward the unwanted people, telling Chow that he shouldn't forget to bring food for payment. As the devices go off in front of the unwanted people, they get startled, and she tells him to run. But the unwanted people start shooting wildly without even looking, and one projectile manages to go through her protective gear, and she gets hit in her left arm. Chow gets scared seeing this and asks if she's alright. She says it's nothing, and he shouldn't worry about her and should keep running. But as they keep running, more mutant hornets show up and start attacking everyone. She keeps shooting them and somehow manages to get on her bike and start it. She reaches out her hand and tells Chow to grab it. He manages to grab her hand and get on the bike, and then they escape from that place. When they return to her base, Jimei is very unhappy. Chow says sorry to them and that he's never been in a situation like that before. Jiao tells him that he needs to practice shooting because she can't depend on his ability to handle things in a conflict. Jiao then injects her wound and it instantly heals. Chow is amazed after seeing that. He thinks that if the medicine here is so effective, it might cure his parents. He tells them that he has something important to do, so he'll see them next time. Jiao asks if he's sure he wants to leave now, as the unwanted people from earlier might arrive any minute. He replies that he can't stay. He really has to go back now. He leaves their place, saying that next time he comes, he'll bring more delicious food as compensation. After getting away from them, he twists his ring again and goes back to his own world. But Jiao sees this as she was hiding behind. Jiao curses the Southerners as her armor is broken and says that she can't wear it anymore. Then through her earpiece, Jiao informs her sister that he has completely vanished. Jiao then tells her to return. She thinks this is interesting and he does have something special about him. She then wonders what she should do next. Meanwhile, Chow thinks that the gold ship will improve his life at home. In the evening, he goes out to a jewelry shop to sell it. The shop attendant gets frustrated and asks him what she can help him with, as he has been watching for over an hour. He asked her if they accept gold pieces, as he's got a piece of gold art for sale. She replied they do, but he has to show the receipt as they don't take gold from unconfirmed sources. He then leaves the store saying he'll go look elsewhere first and thinks to himself that he needs to sell it no matter what. As he leaves the store, the attendant shouts at him that he definitely stole it. He was thinking that he'll find one someday as he gets sent away from another store. Later at night, he was sitting on a bench thinking it wouldn't sell at all. Suddenly, a man walks toward him and asks how many pieces of gold he is selling. Chow looks at him and sees that it is an old man. The old man asks Chow if he would like to go to his shop. Chow then goes with the old man to his shop. The old man welcomes him and says the name of the store is No Questions Asked Come and Go Antique Shop and introduces himself as the store manager, Zhou Fuyan. Then he asks Chow to show the piece he's selling. He brings out the gold ship to show him and explains that it is a gold galleon sailboat in perfect condition. Fuyan is fascinated seeing it and takes a closer look. He then concludes that it's real gold made of very good material and workmanship. He says that he's a fair businessman and never cheats people, so he will give him the general price of gold and art. He weighs the piece and sends the money to his account, then tells him to think of it as a friendship between them. He mentions if he got any more good items, he shouldn't forget to take them there first. Chow looks at his phone and thinks that he's rich after seeing the message that says his card has 740,000 yuan. He then goes to the house of the woman to whom he owes money. After she opens the door, he says that he is there to pay her back and will transfer the money through the phone. She asks him to get inside and tells him to give it to her son, as she doesn't understand it. She calls her son, Zhang Jun, to collect the money. After going there, Jun says to Chow that after all those years of owing his family, he's finally willing to pay it back. Chow says he'll do a money transfer, so Jun takes out his phone for it. Jun starts insulting him and his family, saying he's a lazy, uneducated local, and there's no wonder his family is ineffective. Chow says he owed his family 10,000 wen and transferred him 12,000 wen. The extra is for interest. He warns him that if he says one more word about his family, he'll make him regret it. Jun gets scared and asks how dare he threatens him. Chow replies by asking if he knows what a threat is and if he would want to try. Both Jun and his mom get scared after hearing this. Then at night, Chow thinks to himself that the debt has finally been paid, and now he'll get a new bed for his mom and dad. He wonders what happened to the sisters and thinks that he should check them out later. Then the next day, he goes back to the other world with some food. As soon as he gets inside the sisters' base, a gun is pointed at his head again. Then the sisters realize it's him while he tells them not to shoot. Then Jiao asks him what he is doing there again. He asks what's going on and if it is the group from the previous day. She says it's none of his business as he ran away the previous day. Chow apologizes and explains that he has a sister whom he promised to meet that evening, and if he hadn't gone back, she might have come looking for him. She is surprised and asks why he doesn't bring his sister there. Chow tells them a made-up reason that she's a little uncomfortable. He goes on rambling that she doesn't trust anyone but him and is also very intense. Jiao tells him to stop saying enough of that. Chow then shows them his bag and says he has brought them some bacon and sausages and asks if they want to try some. After eating to their heart's content, Jimei seems very happy. She says she is full and satisfied and that it's been a long time since she had a meal that good. She asks her sister why she doesn't just marry Song Chow. That way they don't have to worry about running out of food. Hearing this, Jiao hits her on the head and tells her not to sell her sister to anyone. Jiao says that they're running out of energy packs and have to go to Linjiang base the next day for supplies and a new combat suit for her. She asks Chow if he wants to go with them. He immediately replies yes, and that of course he's going. He says that he also has a lot to buy, like genetic enhancement fluid, combat suits, and firearms, and that he wants 10 copies of each. She tells him that the gene enhancer there in Linjiang is of low quality, so it's pointless to buy more than one injection. Chow then explains that he actually has a few friends who haven't taken it either, so he's buying it for them. She tells him that they'll leave at 10 and reminds him to pack more food, or he won't have enough money. He shows a thumbs up and tells them not to worry, as he'll bring more than enough. The next day he brings multiple bags filled with food and says that's about it. They are amazed by looking at the fruits. Vegetables, eggs, potatoes, bacon, lunch, and meat, and all the things he brought with him. He says that he'll leave 2 bags as payment and asks if the rest should be enough for what he needs. He gets excited while saying he is really looking forward to it. Jiamei asks her sister again why she doesn't just marry him. She gets embarrassed and says, "What is she talking about?" They all then get on the vehicle and start moving through the deserted plains at high speed. After some time, Chow sees a large place ahead of them. He is astonished looking at the huge walls. He asks them if it is a military base behind the walls up ahead. Jiamei replied, "Yes, and it has 3 solid layers of walls, minefields, and electric fences." She added that it's a human settlement and a military stronghold that no mutant would dare to approach. They said that it is the Linjiang military base. People were entering the base in a line with many guards on duty. As they were entering, Chow asks Jiao how much food is needed for money. She replied, 1 electric currency is equivalent to half an egg. Then a guard asks her if the West Side twins are raising men now. Hearing this, she tells him to shut up and do his job. Seeing what's inside, Chow becomes amazed. He thought that Linjiang base is the post-apocalyptic world he imagined. He asked the twins if it's dangerous, as the weapons have been turned in. Jiao tells him not to worry as the market area in the business district is completely safe, but he still thinks it is really safe because it is a post-apocalyptic world. He looks at a slave trader who is selling a woman, saying she's an attractive woman with a great figure just back from the south and is only $10. Chow is shocked hearing this, as he thinks that 10 money is just 5 eggs. Jiao asks him if he is tempted and advises him to mind his own business. He immediately says he can't waste food on such a thing and tells them that they will exchange money first. She replied, "That's good, as even though they are human, they will do anything for something to eat, including sneaking up on him in the middle of the night and taking everything he owns." After that, she shows him a building, telling him that it is the Bureau of Exchange. She tells him to wait and not to say anything when they get inside and to just act as if he's not bothered. That way, people won't look down on him. After they get inside, one of the attendants asks her if she got any good items to sell. She hands him the bags of food and says, "Change it all to electric currency." He is too shocked after seeing the bags full of luxury food and confirms if she really wants to sell all this. Another attendant also is surprised after looking at all the eggs. The first attendant talks about vegetables and meat too. The attendant asks them where they have come from, but the other guy tells him not to ask. He might be a prince from a big base. Jiao tells him to hurry up and warns him not to try any tricks, as she's watching them. After they get out of there, Jimei screams happily as they got 470 points from the exchange and adds that they can now buy a lot of good stuff. They keep shouting, "Shopping! Let's go shopping!" So Chow tells them that they've been very helpful to him so they can buy whatever they want, and it is his treat. Hearing this, she tells him that he can't change his mind later. While they are chatting happily, a mysterious man is following them from the shadows. He says that they look like a good target and that he must inform Tiger. The man goes running to a nightclub and tells Tiger that he found a big target in the town who exchanged over 400 credits. Hearing this, Tiger says it's interesting and that it's quite a lot. The info broker further added that what they used for exchange were eggs, fruits, vegetables, and 3 kilos of meat. Tiger asks him if he is sure that it was meat, to which he replied he is 100% sure. Tiger said it's a rare product and asked him how many people there. He replied that there are just 3 people, a man and 2 women, and that they are still shopping at Market 1. Tiger then calls Old Six and orders him to tell his men to guard the road to the Western District. He thought these days if you can afford meat, then you're really rich, and if this works out, he will become super rich. Meanwhile, Jiayao asks Chow if he's sure that he wants to go to the market. Chow replied that she's not the only one who's got something to buy. She says okay, and that they'll split up from there and meet up when they're done. He goes to a weapon shop with GMA. Then suddenly a holographic message shows up on his watch. A sound comes out of the watch, saying that it is the automated guide that is dedicated to helping him on his shopping trip. He looks at the hologram, which says, "Welcome to Linjiang Base Market." He starts looking at some huge gear and wonders how awesome they are. He also thinks that the market is full of everything. He then recalls that the girls left him all alone. Jiayao told him to just stand there and not to move. Jiame also left him, saying she has something she needs to buy as well. He thinks that they're not even going with their customer, so he'll give them a bad review and that they could have at least told him where to go. He looks at the hologram of an automatic pistol. Looking at it, he thinks that in this post-apocalyptic world, he should prioritize buying gear that will ensure his survival and that he has to arm himself, as he can't hide behind a woman every time something happens. So, he buys some gear and protective wear for himself. He gets out of the shop fully armed. He looked at his newly bought pistol and thought it should be good enough to protect him. Jiayao asks him what's with his new look. He looks at them and sees that they have upgraded their gear as well. She tells him that he doesn't have a bad choice of defensive gear and knows what's at stake, but then she informs him that they have used up all the money they had. He gets shocked and asks her if they didn't say that it was a lot of money. She explains that it was a lot of money, so they bought a lot of good stuff. Jamei muttered that the candies she bought were delicious and that she'll never forget his kindness. He gets even more shocked and asks her who told her to spend his money on candies, but she tells him to not worry about it. At that moment, Tiger and his men were plotting to attack them. As Chow and the sisters are on their way back to their base, Tiger's men are preparing to ambush them. Old Six informs his boss that the prey is coming. Tiger orders his men to prepare and not to seriously hurt them, as it's all for the money. He ordered them to fire and they started shooting them with huge guns. Suddenly, an explosion occurs and the car gets destroyed. Tiger gets furious and says, did he not say to not seriously hurt them, and asked how is he going to get the money now? He calls them a bunch of silly people and says, if they're blown to pieces, then it's a wasted trip. But after getting close to the wrecked hover car, he doesn't find anybody. Suddenly, he sees a projectile coming toward them, which creates a large explosion and sends his men flying. It was Jiayao who shot that. She says one shot to take care of them all, and it's all blown to bits. Tiger can't understand what just happened, as everything around him is burning. He thinks if it was bombed, and then he realizes that it was a counter-ambush, and that there was no one in that car. They lured them with an empty car and attacked them with long-range weapons from a distance. And then he realizes that there will be a second wave of long-range fire soon. He calls his men and orders them to go handle the enemy. He then takes some of them with him in another direction. Chow notices this and tells Jiayao that something is wrong. She gets nervous, and suddenly she notices that her projectiles aren't finished charging. She said it's nerve-wracking and that she's not good at close to medium range conflict, but she recalls her sister's words that there's nothing which can't be solved by covering fire. And then she shoots some beacons in the sky. She said, if that's true, then that's just not enough firepower. As Tiger's men were moving forward to attack them, one of the guys said that they needed to stop the sniper as soon as possible, and then warned them as a shot came their way. They couldn't react on time as one of them gets a heavy hit. Others get terrified after seeing this. Another one of them said it was a beam sniper, but before she could finish her sentence, she also got hit. The guy who was leading them tries to find out just what is attacking them. Then upon looking at it clearly, he realizes that it is a levitation cannon and wonders if that thing was even sold to a private person. With no other choice, he runs forward screaming to take her out. But Jime fires her cannon again, and he gets completely neutralized. She happily said she knew that her sister is always right. Back at Linjiang Base, the guy who sold information to Tiger was smoking as a guard comes to him and asks how many contacts he has and what he is doing there. Also, he asks, as he sold the information about the rich kid, why he didn't follow them to see if there's anything he can pick up. The info broker asks him if he knows about Tiger's history. He replied, he heard that Tiger is from the Southern District and that he's a slave dealer. Then the info broker says that the Southern District is all about seizing people and slavery and that kind of trouble. He's a simple-minded person and never looks at his partner's profile, as it might be over if he is too careless. He then explained that if it's easy to lose your life, it would be a waste to keep the rest of the supplies. Then why shouldn't he just use it to feel good? He continues by saying that the two flowers of the West Side are not delicate or simple flowers, but the best of the best. Meanwhile, Jiayao attacks Tiger from above and says it's been a long day of ambushes and tells him to have a go with her. She starts shooting the enemies as she counts the number of enemies she has stopped. One after another, every one of Tiger's men starts being neutralized, no matter how many people shoot her. She manages to dodge everything and continues taking care of them. Tiger shouts at everyone to take care of her when she hits the ground, but she activates a skill called double jump and manages to leap mid-air. The enemies are astonished after looking at this. She targets a big guy by bringing out a knife from her wrist and manages to shove it through his head. Everyone gets scared and we're trembling in fear. She says that was a nice warm-up and that she hasn't thanked them yet for being there. She further adds that she just got a new set of combat gear and thanked them for helping her test it. About 30 minutes ago, Chao asks Jiayao if someone is really waiting for them up ahead. She explains that after all the stuff they bought at the base, it's only logical that they would be targeted. She instructs GMA to cover her with long-range weapons from a distance, as she will go up close and fight as usual. She turns to Chao and calls him young master, then instructs him to stay with her sister, as she can't count on his fighting. He gets startled as she calls him young master. She further explains that they'll use the car as bait, drawing fire from the ambush, and then take them by surprise. He asks her if it is necessary to seriously hurt someone or something, and why don't they just take a different route. She gets angry and replies they are there to rob him, to take his property for the sale of his body, to enslave his soul, and to take his life. So it is necessary to take care of scum like this and ask him if he thinks that handling them is the logical choice. Back at present, she keeps neutralizing every single enemy in her path. She shows no signs of mercy. They can't penetrate through her armor, and she keeps dodging their projectiles like it's nothing. She then goes behind a cover and wonders if she is being a little dramatic. And then an enemy with a massive cannon shows up. He moves others out of his way and starts charging his weapon. He shouts, "Go to trouble!" and blasts the cannon at her. The huge amount of energy shatters her cover, and debris starts flying all around her. She puts on a kinetic shield to reduce the damage, but it doesn't help much. One of the grunts says that this time she's done for. The big guy with the cannon says it's finished, and there's too much smoke to see, so they have to go over there to find her body. But suddenly he gets hit by a barrage of attacks. Jamei is the one who attacked him while saying they shouldn't forget that there's a cannon in the distance. Her sister tells her well done as she gets out of her cover and starts shooting the enemies again. All of Tiger's men are falling one after another. This makes Tiger very furious. He manages to target Jiayao and shoots while shouting, "Go to trouble." It makes a direct hit on her head, and Jiamei and Chao get very terrified. Tiger thinks that he managed to get her, but she manages to regain her movement and shoots directly at him. It hits his hand and it explodes also. He loses his pistol. Then others try to take him to cover. Jiayao points her gun at him and asks if he is Tiger and says that he can't just come and ambush her like that. She proceeds to tease him by saying things like, "Don't be shy, Tiger," and if he doesn't want to play anymore. She continues asking if he won't try to rob them anymore and says, "There's nothing to be gained by hiding in a corner." Tiger orders his men to retreat and tells them that they are not easy targets, but a dangerous person disguised as an easy one. Jiayao looks at all the people burning around her. She then scans the area and finds no enemies in a 10-kilometer radius. She thinks if he ran away, and then Jimei calls her from behind as she and Chao were coming towards her. She turns around to look at them, then collapses. Jiayao tells them that they had armor-piercing projectiles, and her armor's been shot through, but luckily the rest of the guys ran away. She says that they have to go back to Linjiang first and take her to Dr. Shujing. As for this kind of projectile, she's the one to call. After a while, Dr. Shujing looks at her and says it's a rare sight and that she has her moments too. She continues that this is the first time she's been sent to the clinic with an injury she got from miscalculating her shield strength. Jiayao tells her to shut up while saying, "Who would have thought that a left-handed fighter would have a projectile that could penetrate level 2 armor?" The doctor theorizes that some smuggler probably sold it in a market. She adds she heard that she has fallen in love with a man who is rich and naive. Jiayao replies by saying, "Sort of." The doctor gets amazed after hearing this, as she didn't even deny it. Jiayao says it's already been seen, so there is no use denying it. She then asks about him and Jiamei if they are all right. The doctor tells her to not worry about them, as her sister is waiting outside the operation room worried about her. But Chao seems more interested in the pods, and it seems like he's never taken body enhancement, and even the pods look completely new to him. She asks who he really is, and Jiayao replies by saying who knows. The doctor says she won't ask anymore. Then asks her why she didn't think about adding a rechargeable battery or a shield module when she bought the new gear. Hearing this, she looks dumbfounded as she completely forgot about that. Shujing then tries to change the subject by asking if she wants pain relief or not. Jiayao replies replied no, as pain relief takes time to regain feeling. She says there's a big show coming up, and if she doesn't make it in time, she won't even be able to get a seat, let alone catch the details. Hearing this, the doctor asks what gives her the impression that she can run around with a projectile in her stomach. She says she'll take the projectile out of her, but after that, she needs to lie down for at least 2 hours to replenish her energy. But Jiao gets really scared looking at her operation equipment. She tries to stop her by asking if she still wants to go check out the situation, but Shujing replies that she's not allowed to think about food. Meanwhile, Tiger returned to the bar in devastating condition. Tiger has lost his right hand and is in immense pain. The girl who was with him tells the other guy to not just stand there but get some help and bring some medicine. She says that the medicine box is in the back and asks, "Where is everyone else?" As the guy runs to get the medicine, she then tries to make Tiger calm by telling him to be patient and that the medicine will be there soon. He calls both of them silly people and asks them if they don't see what's wrong. The other guy notices that there are no caretakers at the base now. Tiger tells them that they're all intruders. Then a few guys in heavy armor show up, holding guns toward them, thus completely surrounded them. One of them pushes the girl and pins her down. She calls Tiger for help, but he tells her to shut up. He asks what he means by all this as Snakebox shows up. Tiger understands that it was all Snakebox's doing. Snakebox tells him to not worry and that he can explain 1,000 words in just one sentence. He explained that he went after Jia Yao and got into big trouble. One of the guys who was with Tiger screams at him, as he was the one who gave them the information in the first place. The guy keeps on shouting and asks if he knows how many of them were stopped. Before he could finish his sentence, one of Snakebox's men neutralized him by blasting his head off. Tiger and the woman get terrified after seeing it. Snakebox says that the boss is talking, but they're interrupting the boss without permission, so he's just helping him discipline his little brother. Tiger warns him, saying he is from the Southern District, and if he touches him, Boss Lone Wolf won't leave him alone. He replied that he remembers the Lone Wolf, but if he touches Jia Yao, some of them will be furious, and the other 3 bosses in the Linjiang base have given their word that they want an explanation from the Southern District. And so the Lone Wolf was dunked in cement and met his end. He explained that some of them thought it wasn't enough. So they asked the King of Difficulties men to help him carry his things. Then with a mean smile, Snakebox tells him to transfer all his credits and property to them. In the clinic, Chao is still looking at the pod with the enhancement fluid. Shujing says that he seems to be interested in it. He then asks her if Jia Yao is okay. She replied it was just a minor operation, and that Jimei is already looking after her. He says he is glad to hear that. Then she asks him if he wants to try genetic enhancement. He asks her how much it costs. She replies by saying 800 credits and that installment payments are accepted. Hearing this, he says that it's a bit expensive. She then explains that he has misunderstood something, that the enhancement drug is one of the most important inventions of that era. Because of it, they've been able to survive the threat of mutated creatures. It can make him tolerate high levels of radiation, and he can also eat mutated food. The body's skills and strength are also greatly improved. She asks him if he understood that the main benefit of the enhancement drug isn't physical improvement, but the foundation of survival and the dignity of life, and asks if it is still expensive for him. Now, after that, Chao gets inside the pod to get the genetic enhancement. A device then congratulated Dr. Shujing, saying that she managed to sell the product at 500% profit this time. Shujing says to herself that she doesn't know who he is, but she can tell that he's never seen a genetic drug before, and that selling good stuff at a high price is a basic action. Then she asks her companion robot if Jia Yao is still resting. The robot says the report is being processed, but when they arrive at her bed, she has already run out, leaving a letter. The letter says that she is in a hurry and will pay her next time. Seeing this, Shujing says that she needs to teach her a lesson. Snakebox is walking through the alleys of Linjiang Base Market. The guy from back then sees him and asks if letting Tiger live is okay. Hearing this, he giggles a little, then explains to him that the people under him are all stopped, and the people who supplied him are also gone. Also, this time they are just giving Jia Yao a hand, as they didn't do it, so they can't help collect the debt. He then continues that the plotting between the big guys has nothing to do with them, as they are just hired to lead the way. Then someone asks him who hired him, and also to give an account of the company. He looks behind and sees that it is Jia Yao. She tells him that he sent a lot of people on her way home. While lying in wait, as when the winner is decided, he takes the people he associates with to take over the loser's home. She mocks him by calling him an honest businessman, and asks if he wants to say something about it. He asks her why she is there, as he heard that she was injured. She replied that thanks to him, she isn't gone yet. He gets nervous at this and says that he did inform her before the conflict. She said that he never mentioned that someone sold special armor-piercing projectiles to them. They both start laughing, one with anger and another with nervousness. He asks what she wants to do next. Does she want to give them her next request? She tells him to relax, adding that his eyes are not honest at all, and that she just wants to settle accounts with him and discuss business. He gets astonished that she wants to do business with an intelligence group grip like theirs. He asks the other guy if they don't have much work, and the other guy replies, no they don't. He then tells her that she's always welcomed buying information from them. Jia Yao pokes his pointy nose and asks him if it isn't a good business opportunity. He was hurt by her poking and asked what she meant by it. She explained that she is talking about setting traps, like how he spread out his information and deceived those who are harmful. She says it is better to control the crowds, and after she'll stop them, he'll seize their possessions, and what's left in the conflict area will be theirs. She'll sell it to him at a reduced price, and what's seized will be divided into 4 or 6 parts. She says they must be interested in this kind of offer, and including Jia Yao, those guys will definitely try to catch up. The other guy gets nervous, saying they are just an intelligence group. She replied, if he can't do it themselves, then he should go back to his bosses and decide later. She also warns him, saying, if there are any more information mistakes like today, they will deduct their share, as she shows him a golden card. The other guy informs Snakebox that it looks like the anonymous gold credit card where all of Tiger's credits were transferred. He gets shocked after realizing it and wonders when she will take it from him. After all this, Snakebox apologized to her for all the trouble. Jia Yao says she'll forgive him, and that she's looking forward to working with him as she walks away with the gold card. The other guy asks Snakebox why he didn't stop her, as they are not alone. Snakebox replied he is still too young, and he shouldn't take them lightly. He asked if he didn't find it weird that she would come there and try to force a deal with them. Just after hearing that, a targeting marker shows up on his head as Jiame was keeping an eye on them from a distance. She suddenly sneezes a bit and thinks she caught a cold from sitting on top of the building. Meanwhile, Chao feels warm and wet like he's sinking into the deep sea. But in the end, it seems that there are 2 rays of sunshine. He opened his eyes and realized that it was the ceiling. He gets up and finds himself in a hospital room. He looked around and wondered if the strengthening was done. He takes a closer look at his body and feels stronger than before. He asks if someone is around and then checks his things under his blanket. But just then, Jia Yao enters the room with his food, and after looking at what he's doing, she feels disgusted. She angrily asks him what exactly he is doing. Hearing her voice, Chao gets startled and covers his things. She says she'll leave him alone and he should remember to clean up before he comes out. He gets really embarrassed and tells her to wait. Shujing then arrives in the room saying it's a masterpiece, as it's the first time she has seen people wake up and be concerned about that part of their body first. Hearing all this, he requests them to stop. She tells him that it looks like he didn't have any strengthening drugs where he lived, and that it's pitiful enough for him, so she'll grace him with the knowledge of the drugs. Shujing explained that, as she told him before, they are mainly used to develop one's physical abilities, but it is just the beginning, and there's a long way to go. First, the enhancement of physical abilities is brought by general strengthening drugs, which include improvement of vision, smell, taste, thinking, ability, reaction speed, and muscle strength. And then there are the higher tier augmentations. The body will break away from the limits of gene lock and become very durable, and the abilities of the brain will also increase a lot. Humans with higher tier augmentation can fight the mutants directly, and as she was about to say something more, she stopped and told him that he doesn't need to know anything else. She then warns him that if he's unlucky enough to meet an augmented person, he should just run away. Jia Yao added, "It is said that no one has seen anything like that in Linjiang." Chao tells her that he didn't think so far and asks if she can tell him the price of various drugs and that he needs to buy a bunch of strengthening drugs. Jia Yao tries to tell him the price, but Xujing knocks her out and tells her to eat her nutrition solution quietly. Then, as Jimei is about to tell him that the machines there are expensive, Xujing throws her robot at her, knocking her down as well. She then explains to him that Linjiang is a small place, and there are no high-tier or very powerful drugs in the market. She says if he wants good quality strengthening drugs, he has to find her 200 bottles for sale. She thinks to herself so many things are about to seriously hurt him that she cannot tell him much. He asks her if the potions can really be used. She tells him it's not how he thinks, as they must be adjusted for use. He asked if there are any that can be used directly. She gets frustrated, saying he doesn't give up and proposes that she can order a batch of easy-to-use drugs for him, but she can't guarantee that it'll work on the recipient. But at least it won't go wrong. He immediately agrees and tells her to do it. Then as Chao is about to leave the room, he asks how much the high-tier and power drugs cost. Jia Yao asks him to think why there aren't those in Linjiang and explains that it is because of their very high price. She further says that a high-tier liquid medicine starting price is 10,000, and no one has ever seen the power drug, but it is said that it is at least 100,000. She tells him to not think about it as they can't afford it. Chao gets shocked after hearing the price of the drug. Xujing then asked them what they were going to do next. Jia Yao replied she wants to stay overnight. Xujing agreed, but told her to pay first. Hearing this, Jia Yao laughs and says they are basically relatives, so they have free rent. Xujing responds by telling her to keep dreaming. Jia Yao asks her if she stays up late. Xujing replied that she's a refined person and not a freelance fighter like them, so who will pay for her meal if she doesn't work extra hours? Jia Yao looks at Chao, who is in deep thought, and asks him if he is still thinking about the strengthening drugs. He got startled and replied he wasn't. Jiayao then tells Jiamei to go back first with Xu Jing. She agrees to it while Xu Jing said she can do whatever she wants. Jiayao then tells Chao that she wants to give him a little advice and asks if he is looking for high-tier and mutation agents. He replied he is, but no one is selling them. She calls him silly and explains that if there isn't a market, then they can create a market themselves. He gets confused after hearing this, so she further explains that as long as he has a large enough organization, enough territory, enough people and weapons, he can buy anything he wants. She added that the more force he gets, the more secure he'll feel. He thinks about it for a few seconds and then tells her that he doesn't know what organizations he can join there. She then clears her throat and explains to him that he has money and she has force. So how about doing it together? Chao asks her if she said that she wants to work together, and she replies by saying yes. He asks if she wants him to be the investor, and if she will help him expand ways to get things and buy the material he wants. She responds to it by saying that's what she meant. She tells him that he isn't familiar with the land and will not deal with their local food. And if he doesn't respect the local power, no matter where it is, he won't get along well. She explained that there are 4 leaders in Linjiang, and they are in charge of the 4 largest forces in the city. However, after the previous day's incident, the one covering the south has been silenced. She continued that he can see the end of those who robbed them. Dozens of people all of a sudden lost their lives. She then calls him young master and tells him that he has not dealt with these kinds of people, and that if he doesn't have a powerful force to protect him, events like that will still appear one after another. She concludes by saying that they are clear about these things and promise to help him solve them all. He thinks about it and says that she does make sense, so she gets excited, but then he asked why she didn't start their own organization before they met him, and she turned pale after hearing that. He continued that both of them have their old equipment, and thus they used all the money to buy food. It's clear that pollution-free food is extremely expensive, so they refuse to eat at all. He said he doesn't bring the food for them to just eat. All these observations hit her hard and she feels guilty. However, he still proposes that they should do it together, and that he will support her in creating the team. Chao added that they should also show their commitment and give him what he wants, and if he judges that they can't give him what he wants, then he'll withdraw the investment and go to someone else. After listening to him, Jiayao responds by saying it's a deal and a happy cooperation. She tells him that she will give him the big picture first, and after that they have to deal with the forces. She starts by explaining that Linjiang is divided into 5 regions, having their own leaders and major forces. The east is the transporting hub between Linjiang and the outside world, with the largest hidden market and a large group of information dealers in the area. The leader is a businessman named Fatty, who prefers money and information over fighting. Then she talks about the central region, which is dominated by a buildup of scientific, technological, and heavy industries. The leader, nicknamed General, is a military man. Then the south of the city is full of people, slave traders, and outlaws. She said the gang that tried to rob them the previous day was also from there. Their boss, Lone Wolf, was a brave and fierce guy, but after the incident, he knows what happened to him. Then, as she's about to talk about the north side, she stops. He asks what's with it. She gets embarrassed and says that it is mainly a distribution center for all kinds of tough guys and hired fighters, with a few information dealers mixed in. The leader is a rough person called King of Smell, and she has a disagreement with them, so she warns him not to go there. He asks her what kind of disagreement it is, and she gets even more embarrassed. Chao then asked if no one is in charge of the West. She asks him what he means and says that's her turf. Chao suddenly looks excited after hearing that, but then asks why she has only 2 people when everyone else has an army. That statement hit her hard, and she said that there are complicated historical reasons for that. She clears her throat and tells him enthusiastically that the western suburbs actually have a lot of development potential, as it's rich in all kinds of resources, and there are quite a few ruins from ancient times where some good stuff can be dug up every now and then. He looked at her suspiciously and asked what's the drawback. She explained that there are too many monsters, and it's too difficult to develop, which makes it hard for anyone to go there. Chao asked if that's the reason they are so poor. He asked why don't the others come and take over the territory. She responds by saying, as she said before, it's her territory. The next day, Dr. Xu Jing asks Chao why he isn't giving her money. He looked embarrassed and looked away from her. Jiamei asks her sister if she really is working with Chao because he's super weak. Jiayao said yes they are, and requested her to shut up. Xu Jing then tells Chao he can't tell her that he won't buy the medicine box which she spent all night making. He replied, of course not, and while indicating the sisters, he explained that the food they sold for credits was eaten up quite a bit before coming. Xu Jing looked at Jiayao and said now it's up to her. She gets confused and asks what she is talking about. Xu Jing said if she is willing to be the guarantor, then she can accept the internal account, but when they pay the money, they should pay 20% interest on the internal debt. Jiayao asked if that's enough of a premium on her stuff. She replied she gets what she pays for, and warns her not to use it if she has the courage. She then agrees to it by saying that she'll be his guarantor. Jing then throws the medicine box at Chow. He catches it and says he'll pay her back as soon as he can. After they left, Jing's robot companion said that she didn't think she'd be willing to give them credit. Jing replied that she's not completely cold-hearted, and old friends naturally get reductions. She added that Jiayao is actually planning to pull the team herself, and she has more or less had enough of that slow situation that Linjiang is in now. Then the robot asks what's wrong with not pushing back on something that is so fun. So Jing replied that she's going to regret it later. As they get out into the city, Chow asks Jiayao for more gold. He tells her that he can't get the supplies for free as he has to trade for something else. She asked why his base needs so much gold, and he replied that not only gold but art, antiques, and other things can also be exchanged. GMA asked why all those useless things and said that the needs of his base really confuse her. Jiayao said, if it's just 3 people, they can't take much even if they find it. He asked, what about buying it from others in western suburbs? To which she replied, he must be joking, as she'll be laughed at if she trades food for gold. She tells him that there's only one way, and then takes him to a place. The trader welcomes them, calling them rare visitors. He said he didn't think that the West Side twins would finally take care of his business. She tells him to cut the talk, and that she'll just say what she wants. Chow asks Jiame what exactly this place is, and she says it's a slave market. Chow then looks at the poor condition of all the people there. Jiayao tells the trader that she needs 12 people, 8 men and 4 women, just fighters and skilled people, and that he is going to get her all the gear. Meanwhile, Chow still can't get over the fact that they are human slaves. They bought a bunch of slaves from the slave market. They will join the team that Jiayao will be creating as a member reserve and workforce. Chow said to himself that it was the plan, but they haven't spoken since they got in the car. He tells Jiayao that it's so quiet. She replied that life and the future are uncertain, so it's natural that a slave is in no mood to speak. He tells her he remembers that she dislikes slaves. She replied that in every sense of the word, she dislikes it. Suddenly, the mood becomes heavy, but she keeps driving the car. Chow couldn't understand what he should do. Previously, she proposed that they go back to the residential area and get what he needs. After that, he will go back and exchange his things, and then they'll both set the slaves free. He tells her that buying slaves and freeing them doesn't sound like something she'd do. Just then, Jimei said that they reached the residential area. They then stop in front of a large house. Chow asks what's there, and Jiayao replies. After he left, they research the nearby houses and put all the easy-to-find gold there. Jiayao then tells him to move a load of gold first, and then they'll take the rest back. She gets out of the vehicle and orders everyone to get out. The slaves get nervous and start to get out of the vehicle one by one. She orders them to get out and get ready to work. She instructs the men to get the boxes out of the truck and tells her sister to take the women and pack up the remaining items and leave nothing behind. She then instructs Chow to pick out everything he wants to take first and not to make any mess out of the rest. He was startled and said, okay. She claps and thinks that the West Side twins are finally using human slaves too. One of the slaves said that it's all the same fate anyway, and another asked, what's with the reward? Another slave tells them that they're just going to end up as labor or expendable fighters. Also added that as long as they're wearing the control devices, they are whatever the buyers say they are. Jiayao then tells them that the reward is to set them free again. They look shocked after hearing it. She said it's no joke, and not only would she give them freedom, but they'll also be given a job. But then she added that there's no such thing as free food. One of them asks her what she wants to do. She replied by saying they don't need to know yet. She asks them if they want to give it a try and see if what she's saying is true. Chow screams with joy as he looks at all the accumulated gold. Jiayao tells him that it's easy to find gold around there. She said there are almost 23 kilos of gold, some gems and jade carvings, so they should start with a box filled with gold bars and ask if 6 kilos is okay. Hearing this, Chow said it's great and that he can get a lot of stuff in return this time. He then asked her if there's anything they'd like to eat. Jiame suddenly pops out of nowhere and says that she wants beef, milk, eggs, and sweets. Jiayao said she wants mushrooms and vegetables, and rice or bread would be nice too. Hearing all of their requests, he thinks that they should confirm their order. He said he'll make a note, and it might be a while before he returns. Jiayao says okay and that she'll take care of the team there. He then takes the box full of gold and suddenly realizes that it feels unusually easy to lift the box and wonders if he should say it is the future technology. After Chow leaves, Jiyao asks her sister if she's not going to follow him. Jiyao tells her to forget it and says that they're partners now and they have to respect each other's privacy. She tells her to go with her to give the slaves their rewards. Jiame gets nervous and says that's a lot. Her sister then tells her that if she doesn't doubt a person, she'll hire them. The slaves get anxious as she arrives. One of them asked if they really believe she'll give them their freedom and do they believe everything she says. Jiyao grabs their attention and tells them to listen as it is their contract of freedom and also the deactivation of the control device. She added that she can give them the promise she made them right now, but until then, she has a proposition she'd like to share with them. They all seem confused as she informs them that she is creating a regiment. She said she's sure that some of them have heard about their reputation. They discuss among themselves that they are known as Sister Jia Yao and Sister Shen Jiamei of the West District, and that they don't rely on a team to survive in the western suburbs. Then one of them asked, "Didn't they always believe in the individual fighter approach?" Jia Yao explained that for some reason she needs to build an army to expand her business, and said that they are all human slaves and talented people with skill. She added that even non-fighters have special skills in their respective fields. Finally, she said that's why she bought all of them so she could make a deal with them for their freedom and career. Hearing this, one of them starts laughing and said he guessed that if they don't agree, then the control device won't come undone. And then he asked what difference does it make to them if they're free or not. After hearing his words, everyone starts looking at one another. Jia Yao looks at the situation, then starts laughing and asks him how so, and added that there's a limit to how much they can look down on people, and they should know her attitude toward human slaves is well known in Linjiang. Then she proceeds to unlock their control devices, saying she's not going to break her promise. And then, to everyone's surprise, all of their control devices fall off. They couldn't believe that she did set them free. Jia Yao then tells them to stay the night that day and think about her offer, and if they're not interested, then she won't force them to stay and are free to leave the next day. She then goes upstairs, saying that she's looking forward to hearing from them. But some of the slaves already start plotting among themselves, as one asks what else can they do, and another says that they don't want to follow in the sister's footsteps. Then another one of the slaves said he doesn't want to leave empty-handed either. The next day, as Jia Yao is asleep on her bed, the slaves with bad intentions come to her room. One of them asks how it looks, and another replies that she is sleeping well. Hearing that, the first one calls her a naive fool and mocks her, saying she bought a couple of slaves and got rid of the control device. She's just a typical fool with a lot of money. The second guy says that the twins are just simple people who don't even know what they're doing, and asks what they will do now. The first guy says that they'll tie them up, then ask her where the weapons and supplies are, and after they're done, he doesn't finish his sentence as they start laughing, thinking about their bad plans. Meanwhile, one of the older guys downstairs asked others what they were doing. One of them replied that they wouldn't dare to go against him and added that they are grateful for the freedom Jia Yao has given them and want to give her a lesson. Lejin asks him if he is happy to bite the hand that feeds him. He responds by saying that they're just repaying her, asking a girl beside him if he is right. She nervously replied yes. Lejin then lets out a sigh and tells him whatever he wants to do, he shouldn't do it with someone who doesn't want to be with him. He replied by saying of course, and added that he has to show respect to his request. He then asks him to keep an eye on others and not to get in the way. He thinks to himself that when they'll get the weapon, they can do whatever they want. During this time, the slaves who are upstairs are about to hit the sisters in their sleep. They manage to land a hit, but suddenly realize that it doesn't feel right. They then see that the image of Jia Yao is disappearing. The guy who hit her screams, saying holographic projection, as they all get terrified. He tells others that something's wrong and they should get out, but before he could finish his sentence, he got shot. Jia Yao says that they're too slow as she reveals herself. She added that they're so foolish to kill someone and steal their stuff like that. At the same time, as another group is trying to hit Jiamei, they are shaking with fear. She then wakes up and asks if they can't be a little more decisive. Downstairs, the guy who was arguing with Lejin is tapping on his arm aggressively, waiting for the others. He said that they are taking too long. Hearing him say this, Lejin starts laughing and tells him that it looks like they aren't so good when it comes to fighting. He responds by telling him to keep laughing and that he'll see soon. Then suddenly, the guys from upstairs are thrown down on the floor. Ji Yao arrives and says, 20 or so human slaves, 10 or so outlaws with enough courage but not with enough brains, going secretly behind her back. She then said enthusiastically, at least she's got a couple of guys left who she can use. After that, Jimei drops some badges on the floor. Other slaves looked at it with shock and asked if those were the team markings on the cape. Lejin says, it looks like it's over. Jia Yao then grabs all of their attention by saying, ladies and gentlemen. She pointed her gun at the outlaws and said, it's time to move on to the reward and punishment part of the game. Terrified, every bad-intentioned slave starts running around. One asked, why did it happen? While Jia Yao sings, run, little sister-in-law, run quickly. If you don't run faster, the big bad wolf is going to catch up from behind. As she loads her gun to shoot them, she keeps smiling while she's doing all this. One sneaks up from behind and swings a metal rod at her, shouting, go away, rough person! But he gets shocked as it gets blocked by her armor. She then asks him if they forgot what body armor is as she points her gun at his head and neutralizes him by blasting his head off. She releases a sigh, then tells the good slaves that she didn't even give them weapons or armor, and they still tried to kill her, and that there's a limit to being terrible. They looked at her nervously. Then, Lejin asked if it isn't a bit much. She looks at him, laughs a bit, and replies that if she hadn't predicted the situation, she'd be the one lying on the ground now. She explained as they decided to bite the hand that feeds them, there's nothing to complain about being stopped. She said they're all responsible for their own decisions, and if they're going to be working together, they're going to have to know how she does things, and that one good turn deserves another. It has become night again, and most of the outlaw slaves have been stopped. Some are still trying to escape her, but she is finishing them off one by one without mercy. Two of them manage to run afar. Then one thinks that she's managed to escape, then looks at the other and asks what they should do from now on. But she saw that he is calling for her help as he is getting eaten by monsters. She gets terrified as he keeps telling her to help him and he doesn't want to lose his life. As she wonders why there is a swarm of mutants, she bumps into something. She looks behind behind and finds that it is a huge mutant. She laughs, being too terrified, and gets eaten by it. Others from the mansion notice it, and Lejin says that it's a demon eater. They are amazed to find out so many in such close proximity as Jiayao is smiling from behind. They get shocked after seeing that the demon eaters start leaving after eating the escapes. Then one of them asked if they had chosen to leave before they would have to go through the monsters too. Others get scared after hearing this. Then they look at Jiayao and think it can't be true as she is laughing. She tells them not to worry and explains that the mutated creatures in the western suburbs have reached an understanding with the residents, and as long as they leave quietly, they won't be in danger. Lejin asked if the mutated creatures that lurk in the shadows of the nearby buildings, eating the betrayers that she has driven out, is just a coincidence. She responds by saying what else and asks if they believe that she controls the monsters. She says that even in their wildest dreams, there's a limit. One of them said to treat others as a warning, and Lejin added, and making an example of them works great. She then responds to that by saying yes, and that she hopes that they'll give her more advice in the future, and welcomes them to her fighting team. Suddenly, a bright light flashes and Song Chao emerges from it. As he returns home, he seems glad to return home after so much has happened. He says to himself that he always feels like he's going to get in trouble when he suddenly appears in the backyard in such an outfit, and that he has to find a way to cover up afterward. After returning home, his father gets confused hearing about a new drug. He asked if he was talking about the medicine for his lung. His father asked if it was okay, so Chao replied that it's a new drug from the company he works for and that it's already been tested on animals. So he asked them for a few copies and he's sending them data, and if there isn't any problem, they'll be rich soon. His father asked him if he thinks that he is a test subject. Chao replies by asking how he could and that it's expensive so they can't get it otherwise. After explaining all this, he injects the drug into his father and said he hopes that it cures his lungs. His father then calls him Superman and tells him that he's not going to interfere with his business, but he must remember to not go against his moral sense. Chao tells his father to not worry and that he'll go back to work. Then he returns to the antique shop to sell the gold bars he brought with him. Joe gets astonished looking at all the gold bars. Chao tells him that there's a total of 6 kilograms of gold bars and asks him to calculate the price. He then looks at the gold bars and thinks something is wrong, so he asked him if he did anything with the gold bars. Chao replied by saying no and that he brought them straight there. Joe thinks to himself that these gold bars don't even have a code, but he doesn't seem like he's lying either. He said he'll take all of them, but this time he can give him only 250 yen per gram. Chao gets shocked and asks why. Joe replied that gold art is fine, but gold bars are hard to sell, so he has to use some ways to deal with them, and tells him to think of it as collecting the gold bars and helping him with the down payment, then gives him the payment. Chao thought that he didn't expect gold bars to sell badly, and plans to mainly sell artworks next time. Suddenly a thought comes to his mind and he asks Joe if he knows if there's a car dealership. He replied that there aren't many cars in this small town, but if he wants to buy a car, he can recommend a place. Joe asked one of his online sources if there's been any robbery of a store or warehouse that happened recently. He replied by saying, no, there haven't been any. Joe thought that there's no record of the crime and they can't find the source of the gold, and there's no serial number. He wonders if Chao cast the gold bar himself, but judging by the marks and degree of oxidation on the surface, it's definitely not recent. He then calls Chao nerve-wracking and says that he shouldn't do something like this next time. He goes to the car dealership recommended by Joe and tells the person in charge that he wants to buy a car. She requests him to follow him so she can show him some models. She introduced herself as sales manager Chen Jia and greeted him. She then shows him some models ranging from SUVs to open-roof luxury sedans to sports cars. She tells him that they have the most complete range of models in the neighborhood. She added that in order to match the traffic conditions around them, they specialize in off-road vehicles and models with better performance. Chao gets excited after looking at all the cars. She then asked him about his budget. Chao thought for a bit and then said that he wants to start with 1,000,000 yuan. She gets shocked after hearing the amount, so Chao asked if there was anything wrong. She clears her throat saying it's nothing and asks if he has any model in mind. And while Chao was looking at the models, suddenly his phone started ringing. He tells her to excuse him as he picks up the phone. The person on the other side asked if it was Song Chao. He replied, yes, he is, and asks, who is it? The girl on the phone explains that they are his sister Xu's best friends Joyu and Zhulan, and although she doesn't want to be noisy, she thought that it would be better to tell him. Chao gets shocked hearing what they just told him. After listening to them, he thanks them and hangs up the phone. The manager tries to talk with him, but he asks her if they have a car there that he can pick up on the spot and fill up with gas. He then gets the SUV and starts driving as fast as possible while thinking about his little sister. When he asked Joyu if she could tell him what exactly happened, she explained that Xu was recently pursued by a rich man in the university. But because he is surrounded by bad rumors, she didn't agree with him. But today, he asked her to go to the karaoke to help him pick up a friend for a good price. So she went there and specifically asked them not to tell her family. Then, they later felt that it really was inappropriate. Chao asked them where they went, so she told him the name of the place. Chao reaches the place called the Heaven and Earth Karaoke Hall in the country. He enters the hall and rushes to find his sister. The receptionist greeted him but saw that he was running towards the rooms, so she tries to stop him saying he will put them in a difficult situation. mansion. He finds the room they are in and then opens it while shouting his sister's name. Inside, he finds that a man is trying to force his sister. His sister sees him and screams, "Big brother." He asks her what the difficulty is going on there. Everyone is looking at Chow and the man asks him who the difficulty is. His sister asked what he was doing there. The man then addresses him as someone who might marry his sister and tells him to just stand there and watch them tease his sister a little. His sister then tells him to run away and go to the police. One of the man's friends tells Chow to be a good boy and stand properly. Before he could finish his sentence, Chow punches him in the face really hard and knocks him down. Everyone gets shocked, and more of them come forward to beat him up. Chow thought they were too slow and wondered if they were really not joking, as they are full of openings. He wondered if it's the power of genetic modification as well. After handling every one of the man's subordinates, Chow angrily asked what he just said before. After they get out of the hall, his sister is trying to process her thoughts. Words like the sky, dusk, and the road in town come out of her mouth. She muttered, "It's coming out," and then addressed him as Comrade Song Chow, which confused him. She then asked him when did he become such a good fighter, and if he dropped out of school to learn fighting. Chow angrily replied that she was the one who took out a tape recorder on the spot, so he thought that she was colluding with them. He asked why she brought the tape recorder, to which she replied that a girl has to protect herself. Chow said if she's afraid of danger, then she shouldn't say yes in the first place, as she wasn't going to play house. She responds to it by moving away her gaze, saying she didn't have such intentions, but he tells her to look in his eyes, and then to Chow's surprise, he heard her saying that she was actually going to go out with that man. She tells him that they're in debt, and she's slowly getting older. She's not bad looking, so she is not at a disadvantage, and this way he will not have to run around, and he can go back to college and finish his studies. Chow then thought something and asked if the man didn't show his true colors today, then could he be his brother-in-law, to which she replied yes, but she then said it's definitely a no-go now and asked if they won't come after them for it, as she shows the tape recorder. Chow then tells her to go with him as he wants to show her something. He takes her to the basement, near his car, and tells her that if she wants to avoid retaliation, her brother has enough power and money. Moreover, he has found a nice part-time job that made him a lot of money and gave him a new car. She looks at the car and shockingly asks if it is a large vehicle. He tells her to trust him and give him some time, and he'll make the best life possible for his family. He continues that they don't have to rely on others and will get out of this mess themselves. No need to worry about money and no need to be bullied, and that he can do it. After they reach their home, Chow tries to give her sister enhancers. He said it's coming while his sister asks if it won't hurt. He replied it won't and transfers the drug through her hand. He tells her it's the drug that boosts the immune system. She asked if he used it on their father and others, and Chow said yes. She asks if this new immune boosting is okay, and he replied, yes it is. She said that his company is a pharmaceutical company, and it's understandable that they can be test subjects with his company and get benefits. But if something goes wrong, Chow replied that it's kind of a clinical trial and tells her to not worry and that his latest trial drug is fine, so he's bringing it to them. She gets shocked to hear it and asks if he used it on himself. He explained that it's kind of mature technology and there aren't a lot of volunteers to test the drug yet. He added that he knows the owner of the company and she is a pretty reliable person while thinking of Jiayao. He said not only did she pay him a lot of money, she also provided him with a car. At first, he had the same fears as her and wanted to refuse, but what she gave him was just too much. She said it's really better to be a little cautious, but Chow kept talking and said it's because they are poor. He then gets a message from his classmate named Miao Qing. The message says that it's been a long time, so he is organizing a reunion and would like to invite all of them. Chow tells his sister that he is an old classmate, but not a very nice person. Another one of his classmates saw the message and said, "Who even has time for such a thing?" But then a thought crossed her mind. She removes her glasses and wonders if there's anyone they can hire to relieve the emergency. The next day, Chow is in his car going to the reunion. When he told about the class reunion, she got very excited and asked if it was his classmate. He told her to forget it and said the most important thing right now is work and that he doesn't have time for this kind of social game. But she told him that he is being narrow-minded and reminded that many of his classmates were medical majors, and as his company is working in the medical field, so it's the right time to expand his network. He thought it's a pain because he can't tell her that it is a genetic drug from the future. As he gets out of the car, he keeps telling himself that it's more or less reasonable, and he should look for students who can provide sales channels, and if not, then he'll have something to eat and go home. The woman from before looked at him and thought about something. Another person who is with her calls her Ming and asks if something is wrong. She replied, "It's nothing," as she then gets out of the car and starts walking. She and Chow were both looking forward to the reunion, thinking they hope that it's not a waste of time. As they arrive at the place of reunion, the organizer Qing welcomes everyone, saying it's been a long time. He then looks at Chow and says he is looking poor as always. Chow also replied that he is looking as short as always. Qing gets really angry, but before he could say anything, someone calls for Chow. It was Chow's friend who takes him away while saying if he doesn't come to the party every time, time, he will have him punished with 3 rounds of drinks. Ching muttered that he's just a poor guy, so he shouldn't pretend to have a big salary. Suddenly, his eyes fall on Meng, who said long time no see, and he welcomes her to the party. She asked him if it was Song Chao, and he tells her that he's from a poor family and he's always complaining that any work is not good at all. But then she tells Ching that it's not appropriate to speak ill of your classmates behind their backs. Ching pretends to be good and says he'll pay attention next time. Then another girl named Xiaoxin arrived, and Meng started talking with her. She said they all missed her, and Meng apologized while saying she has been too busy. Ching thinks to himself that she is Meng, the current chairwoman of the New Technology Company Limited. She is not only excellent in character and appearance, but also a second-generation head of a large company. He thought that he must take advantage of the party to try to get close to her. While they are drinking, Meng suddenly asks Xiaoxin if she knows what Chao is doing. She replied she has heard that his family is poor, so he dropped out of school. She then smiled and asked what's going on, and if it's a situation where a big company princess likes poor boys, but Meng replied, it's not happening. But then she thought that she just saw the car he was driving, and it was pretty fancy. She then shook her head, thinking it's none of her business, and she should see if there are any suitable talented people. Meng starts asking her classmates about their experience in bio-research projects. Xiaoxin replied that she doesn't have any experience with a major bio-research project and told her to ask the boys who are interested in scientific research. Some of the boys tell her no, as there's no internship right now. Another one said that he will ask the professor for her later. With all this type of response from her classmates, she sighed and started thinking if she is too demanding. They haven't reached their senior year and haven't even done their thesis, let alone participated in an actual research project. She thinks that it's hard to find someone who can help them out and wonders if she is too naive. She then shook her head, thinking she would just grab a quick bite and go back. But then she heard Ching telling Chao to drink with him. Chao tries to refuse, saying he is driving later, but Ching tells him to quit lying and just drink. He smiled as Meng was looking at him. He thought that if he can beat Chao, he will be able to show his impressive side to her. He excitedly tells Chao to join him while Chao mutters he is not even listening to him. Suddenly, Chao's friend arrives and tells him to not worry and that even if he gets drunk, he will take him home. With no other choice left, Chao agreed to drink 1 glass, but this was all according to Ching's plan, as he added something to the drink earlier so he can make a spectacle out of Chao. They both started drinking, and with each glass, Ching was getting drunk, and then he reached his limit and started vomiting and lost the challenge. Chao's friend praised him, saying it's amazing that he could drink so much, but Chao brushes it off by saying it's all practice from working outside. But then he thought he is, not even a little drunk, and wondered if this is also the effect of the genetic drug. After getting drunk and losing to Chao, Ching gets really furious and says it's not fair. He tells Chao that he's popular, while on the other hand, no one likes him. Chao gets confused after hearing that and gets a little nervous. Chao said he didn't offend him in any way, but Ching shouted it's his patronizing attitude. He said that he is a poor man, so he should feel free to show a little humility. His classmates drags Ching away, saying the party is over and that he should have a good vomit. Chao's friend then tells him to hang out somewhere else, or Ching won't shut up. Witnessing all this, Xiaoxin asked what they were up to, but Meng also seemed confused. Xiaoxin then asked her if she found any candidates, and Meng replied that they don't have any project experience, so they can't really help her. Then suddenly Meng gets a phone call from her dad. She thought that she already told him about the reunion and wondered if something happened. She tells her friend to excuse her for a moment and asks her dad what's up. He tells her to find a quiet place as he has something important to tell her. She goes to the washroom and then asks him if something is wrong. He tells her to calm down and listen to him carefully. He explained that the company has decided to cut the R&D project she is in charge of, which shocked Meng. She then calms herself and asks what is wrong. He explained that their group's cash flow is in danger of breaking down and they can't afford to throw more money into her lab this time. The lab hasn't been able to produce results, which has led to very strong opinions from many people. And at this point, he can no longer suppress the opinions of the rest of the board. She asked if he remembers when they analyzed that the only way out for the company was innovative R&D, and he said he does remember it. She added, in the current market, they don't have enough competitive advantage. She kept explaining that only by investing a huge amount of money, they will be able to make a future by exiting Tier 2 and 3rd cities to take over Tier 1 markets. She further continued that if they don't fight to the end this time, then they may never get another chance. And her dad kept saying he understands. She gets really furious and tries to say something more, but her father tells her he knows everything she just said, but this time they had to compromise. He explained that reality is difficult and they can't keep investing money into her project. He added, before they talk about ideals, they first have to fill the stomachs of the people who are moving them forward together. He then ends the discussion by saying sorry. She starts crying and tells him to just give her 3 more months. She requests him to help her with the project and that she needs another 3 months, and she will give him and the board an explanation within a month for the experiments on the gene repair drug. He tells her he understands and that he'll do his best. After that, she gets out of the washroom, but while she was talking with her father, Chao overheard her and muttered that he accidentally heard something he shouldn't have. He then thinks about the genetic drug she was talking about. He remembered that Meng and her family's group made pharmaceutical production shine. and by the sound of it, she's having a headache over her genetic research. So, he wondered if they could sell Dr. Xu Jing's medicine to her, and thought about trying to ask her first. But after going back, he found everyone gathered up. He then heard Qing asking someone to tell him the difference between two medicines. He wondered what's happening, and as he got closer, he found Qing telling Meng to drink his wine. She refused him, but he got aggressive and told her to cut the talk and drink the wine. She was startled by his behavior. He then asked her if she thinks that she is too good for his drink. Hearing this, she got angry and others started scolding Qing. Meng was wondering why she is wasting her time dealing with these drunkards, but Qing still kept shouting at all of them and telling them to get out of his way, as he just wanted her to taste his wine. Meng got sick of it. Then suddenly, Chao grabbed her shoulder and said he heard that she is interested in genetic products, so he wants to talk to her. Hearing him say that, she looked at him with surprise. Chao continued that he wants to talk about her company's genetic product development project. An gets astonished and tells Xiaoxin that she has business to talk to Chao, so she'll be leaving first. Being confused, she tried to stop her, but Meng left while saying she'll call her later. Before she could tell anything else, they already left the venue. Seeing Meng going with Chao, Qing got even more frustrated and cursed him, thinking that he robbed him of the chance to show off in front of Meng. Chao and Meng went to the car park together, where she thanked him as he came forward to help her. She said now he can go back to the party as she'll be going. But Chao stopped her, saying he really wants to talk to her. He explained that he is actually working for his friend's company right now, and they're doing research on genetic agents and already have samples. He also apologized to her for overhearing her call back then. He was wondering if she'd be interested in looking at the samples and collaborating. But after hearing this, Meng got really frustrated and said she is very grateful for his help, but doesn't intend to pursue him for stealing trade secrets from his company. She then requested him to not look down on other people's work. She added that she appreciates him helping her out, but he shouldn't underestimate bio research. Seeing her reaction, Chao got really nervous and said he didn't mean that. She asked him if he knows what genetic research means, and started explaining that it means tens of millions, or even billions of dollars into bio R&D, and that they have world's top scientific researchers working around the clock, and it takes a lot of labor, and that doesn't guarantee that the product will even work. Hundreds to millions of dollars are invested every year, but only a fraction of that yields results. And now he's telling her that a private lab has developed a genetic product and he wants to talk to her about collaboration. She thought that there's a limit to how much one can look down on people. Then, after telling him all this, she said sorry to him since she was out of control for a moment. She thanked him for his offer and said she'll be in touch if she's interested, and walks away. Chao tried to stop her, but she got in her car and told the driver to start driving without listening to him. After she left, Chao wondered if he said something wrong, and that she didn't even leave a contact number or business card after saying she would be in touch. He understands it's a clear sign that she doesn't believe him, but the thing is that he has the real product in his hand. Then the next day, Chao went to meet Joe, telling him that he wants to buy a departmental store. After entering the store, Joe tells him not to worry as they are friends, and adds that he has to help him out too. Chao looked at the store and found that it was filled with countless grocery items. Joe informed him that it's an old store with fair prices, lots of space, and lots of usable stuff left over. He also added that it's not far from both the town and the countryside, and there are plenty of incoming goods nearby. Chao gets happy after hearing that, and Joe asks if this meets his requirements. Joe said he will give it to him for $500,000 and will introduce him to the previous channels, which made him happy. But then Joe tells him that he still wants him to sell gold there, and he has to take care of him as he mainly deals in gold and antiques, to which Chao immediately said no problem. Joe then leaves while saying he'll go get the contract ready. As he was leaving, Joe thought that Chao said yes without any hesitation, and it doesn't look like he's hiding anything weird. So, Joe found it interesting and wondered where the heck Chao got this gold from. After returning home, he tells his father and sister that he is buying a supermarket. Chao said that they can help him manage it, and explained that his friend is quite rich, and now that he's working for her, she has given him a startup capital. He added that he can't do anything else, only run the business and give them some good meat and vegetables as a token of his appreciation. His father thought about it for a bit, and said that his body won't last much longer in the mines, so he will look after the shop for him. Chao thought that he'll give his dad a break from all the hard labor in the mines, and at the same time have a reason to buy food and stuff in large quantities. After the discussion, Chao thought that it's time to return to the future. After a few days of setting up the shop, his father was cleaning the shop, and his sister was moving some crates for him. After moving the crates to Chao's car, she tells him that she got his potatoes and cabbage wrapped up. She asked him if it's really okay just to send this stuff to his boss. Chao tells her to not worry and says it's fine. Chao then smiled while saying she's not tired even after carrying a box like that. She has gotten quite strong. Chao realized this and said it doesn't feel like it weighs much even though there's a lot of food inside. She finds it strange that she seems to be getting stronger these days. Chao thought that his dad's complexion is also looking better, and he can see that he is getting healthier. He seemed glad that the effect of the genetic drug is amazing, and thought it has to be as it is a standard necessity for the humans in the apocalyptic world. After loading the car with food, Chao's father and sister stood in front of it as Chao was about to leave. His father said he still can't believe that his company gave him such a fancy car, and Chao replied it's a company benefit. His father then advised him that he should be good since his friend treats him right and tells him not to to disappoint him. Chow said yes and that he knows what he's doing, and then he starts driving. After driving for some time, he checked in the rearview mirror that he was far enough from everyone and thought he just had to twist the ring to go back to the future. But suddenly a thought crossed his mind that he had actually made enough money. So why would he want to go to the end of the world where his life will be in danger, and considered not going? But right after that, he started laughing and asked himself what he was thinking, because that's the kind of guy he hates the most. He thought he didn't want to be the jerk who makes a quick buck and then runs away. Then, as he twisted the ring yelling Jia Yao's name, he got transported to the other world with his car. And that's the end of this episode. If you want the next part, make sure to hit that like button and help us hit 1,000 likes. And I'll drop the next part as soon as we reach the goal.